between the components of the Iraqi society. And we have to start by effort to reconciliate. A reconciliation process is a must. That is why we called for a meeting in the Arab League, and each and every Iraqi high official attended that meeting. At that day, there were 1,000 Iraqi leaders in Cairo. 100 of them were in the hall in the Arab League, with the president of Iraq, the prime minister, the ministers, the leaders of Sunnah, the leaders of Shia, the leaders of Kurd, the leaders of Turkmen, all of them were there.
But Mr. Moussa, doesn't it matter more that 1,000 people a week are dying rather than 1,000 people come to one of your meetings?
You blame somebody else on that. So
that's easy.
Do it. If it is easy, do it.
But it does matter, doesn't it? It does matter more.
Why don't you blame those forces that have led Iraq to this situation?
Who's led Iraq to that situation?
Tell me. I'm asking you.
No, you tell me. You mentioned those forces leading Iraq. Who's led Iraq to that situation?
So many sinister forces that have led Iraq to this situation. First of all, policies that are really not well researched or planned. They took it easy. Iraq will just welcome everybody that would come and put an end to the previous regime. And that roses.
You can't name names here.
I don't think that we have to name names. But if I want to name, I will name it. I will name it. Iraq is on the verge of disintegration. It will not help it to accuse each other and continue to accuse each other. You did it, and you say you did it. It is not that question now. Now, how to defend Iraq, how to prevent the disintegration of Iraq. We need the United Nations. We need Europe. We need the Arab world in its collective will. We need the United States too.
Okay, question from Christina Doha, please.
Where was the Arab League when Saddam Hussein was oppressing his own people in Iraq?
A good question. A good question. Indeed, we should have done more, and we should have stood firm against any major violations of human rights as had happened at that time. Yes, I agree that the Arab League should have acted much earlier.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's move on, if we may, to the Arab-Israel dispute now, and Omar Basha. Question from you, please.
Israel is not simply going to disappear off the map. What does the Arab League foresee in terms of future relations between Arab countries and Israel? Do you have any new plans to resolve the situation, or Arabs simply waiting for the situation to resolve itself?
The Arab world and the Arab League has come to adopt a collective policy, as expressed by the Arab Summit in Beirut in 2002, adopting the Arab Initiative for Peace in the Middle East. The Arab Initiative for Peace in the Middle East is a very important and basic document, and I believe it will not go away. It is the position that all the Arab countries have decided to take in relation to the Arab-Israeli conflict, and in particular, the Palestinian question. This document says the following: we are ready to have peace with Israel, normalization with Israel, and offer recognition of Israel if Israel also carries its obligations according to Security Council resolutions and the principle of land for peace, withdraws from the occupied territories, agrees to the establishment of a viable Palestinian state, and I said withdraw from all Arab territories, I must say, not only the Palestinian, but also the Syrian and Lebanese, in addition to the establishment of the Palestinian state, and a just solution for the refugees problem and the Jerusalem question.
Hasn't Hamas rejected it?
Hamas did not reject that. Hamas, it's a different story than what happened with Hamas. Hamas was elected according to the democratic call and the accusations that have come from four corners of the world. So the Palestinians ran elections, and Hamas won the elections. The very first minute, the same day after the announcement of Hamas winning the elections, the calls came from Europe, first of all, said, okay, we are going to stop any assistance to the government. And that, you do that. You recognize Israel, three conditions. And you do that or else. And I was wondering, and I talked to many of our colleagues, this is not a way to dealing with a new government. Any government, according to your traditions in Europe and in the West, Give any new government 100 days, this grace period, to organize itself, to read the basic documents, to decide what to do. But it was faced with blockade, isolation, stagnation, starvation, and then you blame them. You blame them. My thinking, and I advised many of our colleagues, that let us try to invite them to talk with you and with us. The three conditions, this policy of you do that or else is unacceptable, first of all. That's my opinion.
Okay. We'll take a question, please, from Aman Al-Emadi.
What benefits has the Middle East gained from your country, Egypt, having relations with Israel?
Well, there are always benefits from any peace agreement. Withdrawal from territories, the end of war, but what Egypt